The New York Knicks are going to the finals. That doesn't even seem real to say. I don't know how to feel. Like, in a way, I'm excited, but also this was expected. Like, the Knicks were supposed to be in this position to have an actual shot at not only getting to the finals, but winning the championship. They're going to the finals off the backs of an 11-game win streak and 3 closeout games in each playoff series with a minimum of 30 points differential. I just find it crazy how after all these years of not luring a max player in free agency, not being able to draft a franchise guy, and although I like RJ Barrett, he had some flaws and he wasn't able to get to that all-star level. Still love him though. They weren't able to get a franchise guy. And even when they were in a position to get someone in like 2017, 2018, they could not get that one player. But now they're in a position to erase all of that and win the championship. But I need to give so much credit to Leon Rose because when he took over in 2020, he took a Knicks basketball team that was horrible, that was one of the worst in the NBA statistically. And within 6 years, after many trades, after many ups and downs, and going through so many playoff hardships, he turned them into one of the worst in the NBA to now having them in position to where they're 4 wins away from winning the NBA championship. But what impresses me the most is how Leon was able to get to this position because he never tanked in any way with the Knicks. It was never a season where he traded away guys on purpose to get into the top 10, to get a franchise guy. And although RJ was in some ways could have been a franchise guy, he traded him because there was a limit to how the Knicks could have utilized him with his play style, and he eventually went, and well, you guessed it, the OG Anunoby trade, which now we're happy with. But you look at this Knicks roster, basically everyone but Miles McBride and Mitchell Robinson came via free agency, via trade, via veterans minimum in the offseason. I mean, no one is here through the system. It's only 2 guys. Everyone else came from elsewhere. Leon took with what he had in 2020, managed to make them into a playoff team in just 1 offseason, and then eventually within a few years signed Jalen Brunson, made trades for OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges. Obviously, Karl Anthony Towns is the latest one, but so many in little individual ones to get the team to where they're at without tanking, without relying on a superstar mega free agent to come and save the Knicks. When you compare that to other teams that have won the championship in previous years, the Thunder, the Celtics, the Nuggets, and the Warriors, all those teams have won, and fair, nothing to disrespect, but they've all won with their franchise guys, with Steph Curry, Jokic, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, obviously, Jalen Williams and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jamal Murray with the Nuggets, and Jokic, like I just said. But all those guys came from their system. They drafted. They had positions to get those guys in the draft, and they utilized them, and, they won a championship. The Knicks aren't like that. Again, most of their team consists of guys from other teams, again, in free agency, trades. They never built them up through their system other than the 2 guys they drafted in the 2nd round. But if you were going to tell me back in middle school after the Knicks hired David Fizdale, they made trades for Andrea Bargnani, they signed Joakim Noah to a horrendous 4-year contract. LeBron James and the Cavs were literally bottle flipping in the middle of the game. And of course, drafting Kevin Knox and Frank Ntilikina and not being able to get their franchise guy, that it would all lead to them being 4 wins away from the NBA Finals. I would have probably laughed in your face.